Hello, good morning, and welcome to day 12 of the GBDURO. It is 10 minutes past 8 in the morning, and no big surprise reveal here, because yesterday I mentioned that we tried to get Tom Downs to come and join us, but nonetheless, I am equally pleased, thrilled, and privileged to have the winner of 2025's GBDURO here with me as a guest today to talk about his experiences and maybe give us some insight on what these last four riders are facing as they come into the finish. GBDURO 2025 was not Tom's first rodeo. Tom has a couple of pretty impressive TCR finishes over the last couple of years, most notably 29th place, just clipping the top 30 last year, and made the top 50 the year before that. Has also finished All Points North twice, finished in second place in 2023 and fourth place in 24. Has finished fifth and fourth in the Cotswolds 200 and the Southern Divide, respectively, and has a fifth place finish in 2022's Transatlantic Way. All pretty impressive palmares, lots of top fives, and finally got that big elusive win. So congratulations again, Tom. Thank you so much for being here.
Cool, thank you.
How you doing now that you've made it home?
I'm okay. I have eaten an unbelievable amount of food. You forget how much you have to eat to recover.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been eating double whatever the rest of the family are eating. I still don't quite have the sensation back in all of my fingers and toes, but I think that's on its way.
Yeah, that one seems to be fairly common, but does come back soon. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too much to worry about. I'm going to do a quick check-in on where our racers are this morning and anything that unfolded overnight. So as I signed off with a written post at the end of the day, it looked like Dan... Am I keeping track of everybody correctly? Yes. No, Dan was in. It was Roop, who was just about 30k away from the finish. Looked like he finished about 9:30 last night. Maybe coming even close. Oh, that's the timestamp thing. This is set on GMT and we're on summertime. So it would have been 10:30 that he finished. And saw a message this morning saying that Ross, Rich, and Timo were indeed waiting for him with a little party, some pasta, a couple of beers, and sounded like a really fun evening there at the campsite. They are all now prepping to welcome Dan, Rob, and probably Joe a little bit later today. As we can see, Dan is in this final gravel sector, getting ready to make it into the lanes to do that final rolling descent. It'll take him a few hours, but the bulk of the hard work is done, and he is on his way. Rob, who Dan overtook just before the Lochari section, is also on his way, is now through the hard hike-a-bike stuff, still coming out of the tail end of that gravel and headed into Kinbrace before doing the last sector and then onto the lanes. So he'll be a little ways behind. And we can see Joe's tracker did eventually come back online at Rose Hall, which is there. She camped not far from there and has been up and starting to tick off the Ks again this morning. That looks like the climb from Cashley, or is it Cashley Hydro, up and over to Loch Shin. So done that big climb and now just got the 3 gravel sectors, including the big hike-a-bike and the lanes. I say just, that's still a huge day out.
Yeah.
Finally, we've got Roman making his way into the path of 1,000 puddles. I think it's probably ambitious to think that he will finish during, well, I don't see him finishing during daytime. That is 340 Ks left. The question is, will he make another night of it, or is he going to just push on until the very end? But we're keeping an eye on all of them, and we know that they are all very glad to get to the finish. Tom, I'm going to ask you a bit about some of those sections that they're coming into in a minute, but first I want to check in on, it looked like Dan camped kind of just at the tail end of the hike-a-bike last night, so went through the hard stuff. Rob camped at the front end of it, And this is a screen grab from Rob's last update on Instagram last night. It was a video where he was saying, okay, here we go. It's pitch black. I probably should sleep. Don't know when I'm gonna. And then it seemed almost immediately after that, his tracker went see-through and he'd obviously gone to sleep. So made the right call for him. I'm sure he doesn't regret that. I'm also sure that Dan doesn't regret getting through it and not having to face it first thing this morning. I think Jo looked like she had maybe the roughest day of her race yesterday. Says today was the roughest day by far. Wet, windy, lots of chunky gravel, and too many puddles. She obviously started in the path of 1,000 puddles. Called it a sufferfest from start to finish. I'm going to play through this whole update because it seemed morale really dropped for Jo here. Where are we? In all honesty, it's the first day I can definitively say I did not enjoy. Feeling exhausted and wishing for the end. So that's after me saying that I thought maybe people were wanting to spend more time out on course. Jo finally hit her limit. She didn't even like the food she bought. She said, I loaded up with random foods I'm not particularly excited to eat from the only shop 300 Ks from the finish. Doesn't sound particularly happy about that. And finally, reshared the post where we were wondering what's going on with her tracker, hoping she's all right. Just saying batteries died. Sorry, folks. So got herself back up and running after that. I was trying to figure out, she said in one of those updates that it was wet. I was trying to work out if there was much rain. It looked like there was a little bit on some of the Met Office reports. I know we don't usually share photos of our photographers, but here's Tom Gibbs, who's been doing some incredible photos for us. And I'm not just sharing because yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday, Tom. But also because this gave me some little insight that if it was raining, it wasn't particularly rainy, and I wonder if maybe the wet that Jo was talking about was primarily just that path of 1,000 puddles. Tom, I expect you were probably too far south. Sorry, Tom Downs, I expect you were probably too far south to know much about what rainfall looked like at the tail end of yesterday. But, yeah.
No, okay. It was driving south. It was damp. There was a lot of low fog and cloud mist. So
okay,
that can be enough to make you wet and cold as well. So
yeah, I think the descriptor I settled on was it doesn't look like a particularly wet, particularly rainy day, but it looks like a Scottish day. So maybe that was it. Not much Scottish weather during this race for you there, Tom.
It was incredible. Yeah, I think that. I mean, I don't know what the normal scratch rate is, but I'm sure. Yeah, the weather's been amazing. I'd have really struggled at a few points had the weather been much worse. Yeah.
I mean, I think most of the scratches the year I rode were weather, rain-related damage to equipment, that kind of thing. Where it seemed like here it was more the heat and just the extra fatigue that took on everybody.
It's hard enough keeping your feet comfortable and dry even without rain.
I know.
Yeah.
And you end up packing merino wool socks and all this, thinking, well, my feet are going to be wet for 4 days. I better at least make sure they're warm. And then all of a sudden it's 28 degrees and you're wishing you wore the vented shoes and the thin socks and all that. Yeah. So Dan's in this final section. I really should have just looked up the name of it. It's an RSPB preserve.
Yeah.
And my recollection is that that's all pretty smooth, fast-going, kind of almost gravel superhighway stuff.
Yeah, it's really
nice.
What
do you recall of that?
Yeah, it felt like a really nice ending. It wasn't like we've already done the sting in the tail by the stage. So for me, I got the sunrise during this section, and it was just really nice. It's like, we're nearly there, and we're going to enjoy this last few hours. And
that sounds absolutely gorgeous.
Nice tempo warm down, I think.
And then kind of rolling through the lanes into the end, yeah?
Yeah, and that's it's nice and straightforward.
And what was that like for you?
I've really enjoyed those last 3 hours. And sometimes it can be a bit of a countdown, and you I just want to get to the end. And I sort of took, there's a bit of advice I've read years ago that you're on the last few hours of this event that you've spent ages thinking about and enjoying. Why just enjoy the last 2 or 3 hours of it while you're still on it, and it that reframing really helped.
Sounds really incredible. Helps. And I guess also you knew that Reese was far enough behind that you didn't You didn't need
Yeah.
to push any pace at that
I
point.
think it was only when I reached the last tarmac at the end, it's like, no, I really have got this. I could pretty much walk the rest of it now if I
Yeah.
had to. And yeah,
So that's when you knew.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you just can't take anything for granted. I
Yeah.
probably, I was probably racing less hard
Okay.
from about the last third in terms of like I'd spend a bit more time in the shop and I'd spend a bit more time eating.
Yeah.
Um, I guess that race focus dropped a bit because it's like I don't need to be pushing that hard, but I was definitely looking after my position. I
Okay.
didn't want to. I wasn't. I was still riding very conservatively, very carefully,
Okay.
not taking any risks, and
So
so on.
slowing it down, being a bit more careful, but just checking regularly to make sure Reese wasn't closing the gap too much.
Yeah, it's mad what the tricks your mind plays. I'd still look over my shoulder. I knew he was several hours behind, but you look over my shoulder every now and again.
Just sort of expecting to all of a sudden see him out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Oh my God, there's been some huge tracker mistake, and I don't have to. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Since we're on it, I want to go ahead and go into that. Let's go right into your race story. We'll come back and pick up on some of these sections in a minute because I do want to hear your thoughts on Macquarie and all that. But
yeah.
we're now into your race story. So tell me about it. Take us right back to the beginning. You started out strong. You were up with the leaders, but not in the lead.
Yeah.
Where was your head in those first couple of days?
Well, right from the beginning, it's like I've kind of I I know I'm going to do okay, and I know I guess what I'm like in these situations. I'm not gonna. I know I'm not going to sleep the first night. That's not even a debate. I don't even try
Yeah, I
anymore.
remember that from your interview
Yeah.
with the photographer there.
Yeah. So I'm pretty well stocked, and I'm just gonna I'm going to do my own pace. You can only do your own pace, and that goes throughout the whole of the ride, really. So
Right.
I'm not going to look at the tracker probably for the first. I'm going to try. Probably not going to look at the tracker the first 48 hours
Okay.
either, because if you can't do anything about someone being ahead of you or near behind you,
Right.
or for me, I feel like I shouldn't. I shouldn't try and go faster just because the guy in front's going a little bit quicker, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna hurt myself, and
Yeah.
I'm constantly managing. Your knees a bit niggly, your ankles a bit niggly. You've got this little problem here, I need to react to that rather than react to other people, I suppose.
Yeah.
So
I think
um,
especially in those first few
well,
days, sounds like a
that
sensible
first day,
strategy, and it sounds like it worked for you.
yeah, yeah, the tailwind on the first day was incredible. We had this like blown across Cornwall, and it was sunny, and it was just a beautiful day out on the bike. So it's just you could just completely immerse yourself, get yourself into the race. And
Yeah.
well, that said, there was there was a dot watcher in some Cornish village who said, "Oh, well done, you're in third place." It's like, oh, holy shit, I'm in third place. This is going okay. So, um,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. So I think I rode with uh, Todd, and I've forgotten his partner's name.
Todd and Sam were
Todd and Sammy,
the
I rode with them for a while at the start. They were powering along, and it's like, well, this is a good pace.
yeah.
Um,
They
uh,
made incredible pace, even not racing as pairs.
yeah,
I think generally pairs tend to finish not quite as quick as the
yeah,
fastest
yeah, yeah,
solo racers, and there they were. I think by the time they scratched, they were maybe in joint fourth.
yeah, yeah,
Um.
yeah,
So
strong.
yeah. Uh. So yeah, skipped that first night, and then I think that interview was there in Bristol,
Yeah,
which means it's day two, taking you into some of the tougher bits of Wales.
yeah. So
Had you ridden any of
I
that
know the
before?
section. I know the section reasonably well. So I'd ridden the Bristol to Llynbrianna, the dam, about
Okay.
3 weeks before. So I've got a family in Wales, and I did it. I'll always try and do a sort of a double big day out in the run up to one of these things. So that was the one I thought I'd recce it out there.
Okay.
I knew exactly and I could settle in here. I was completely comfortable doing, and I had in mind that I was going to try and make it to Llanwrtyd, the last shop there, and there's like a shelter and a play park there, so I thought that would be a good bivvy spot if that worked out,
Oh,
which it
okay.
did. So um,
Sorry, that's further ahead, right?
yeah, that's
We're
about
now
where we
testing
are.
my
That's
lack
about
of
where we are.
knowledge of
About yeah,
Welsh geography.
you're just above. Yeah, in fact, just above
It
where my dot is now, to right of Henry there.
so
Llanwrtyd. Yeah, so that's where I stopped for the night.
Somewhere in there, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And obviously the three of you at that point had pulled ahead, and it seemed like a fairly clear three-person leaderboard, uh, even into the next day until James scratched.
which I hadn't spotted.
Oh, you didn't know?
I
Okay.
didn't really spot that. I knew. Yeah,
Because
interesting.
it opened up a bigger gap behind you,
Yeah,
where I
yeah.
think James kind of had been nipping at heels. It was one of those, we're still early enough in the race that any of these three could change position at any moment.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, kind of peak heat wave coming through Wales. What was that like? Obviously, we already mentioned weren't quite packed for it.
I I don't remember being terribly hot at this section. It's the section from where my dot is now to roughly where Henry is, which was,
Okay.
well, maybe a little bit further. I found this is one of the harder sections of the whole race for me. It was so hilly and so steep, and I felt like I was just burning my knees up. Like I need I can do a certain amount of hilly steep hills, but I need a little bit of a break in between, like a walk or a flat section. And it was
Yeah.
just, it's relentless. You've got these really big steep hills,
Yeah.
and with I think I had in my mind that it'd be nice to make it to Manchester, and it was like a complete fantasy. There's no way I was making it to Manchester. It's like
For the
how,
end of day
at the end of this
3.
day, yeah, yeah. And
Okay.
it's like, and I was looking at thinking, oh, Henry's gonna. In the end, Henry didn't make it to Manchester either that day, but it's still like
Yeah, he ended up camping
I
out
really
kind of,
underestimated how hard that section was going to be.
yeah, I think I remember this particular section thinking, oh, I'm not that far from the tail end from getting out of Wales, and then ending up in whatever this is,
Yeah,
which does not, it rides fairly similarly to that Path of a Thousand Puddles
yeah.
out of Struy, doesn't it?
That's just rough, and yeah. And then
Yeah.
and then the hills into Llangollen, the crazy hills. It's like really steep up, really steep down. And then I got pizza. I had my first hot food in Llangollen.
Okay.
Um, just yeah, and and then I think
Yeah.
I bivvied sometime after the trail centre. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's what is it? Is it Ocean's Path? There's a like paving stones or
oh god, the
something.
Offers Dyke. I think is it
Offa's Dyke.
Yeah, yeah, that was.
I'm in Scotland, obviously. Ocean. Offa's Dyke
Yeah,
is the paving stones up and over that moorland, I think. And then, as you say, you come down through that trail centre,
yeah,
and actually kind of fun for
yeah.
Miles and Ed to put us through the trails themselves a little bit.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's like nice bit of night riding going on at the tail end of the day, and I think I camped probably roughly where the dot is there.
Oh,
I probably wasn't far off.
exciting.
Yeah.
Uh, and then a fairly smoother run on into Manchester, which I guess started your next day, right?
I like to do that. I prefer to sort of push over, get a big hill or something out of the way before sleep, so I've got a nice run in the morning if I
Yeah.
can, and that worked here. So I had this nice 4 hour section. The roads were wet, but I didn't get wet.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a nice, easy roll into Manchester. And
Yeah. And at this point, obviously, Henry's still in the game. We've got a decent gap between the two of you.
oh, good 4 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, are you thinking, let's push on, get a bit further, and then decide whether I'm going to make an attempt to catch him? Or is that
No,
just miles from your mind?
no, it's still it's at this point. It's like, wow, I'm in second place. This is great. This is really good.
Okay.
I'm going to look after this, and keep
Yeah.
taking care of myself. If something happens in front or behind, sure, but I'm just going to.
Okay.
It's too soon for a push. If maybe within 48 hours of the end, it's like, how am I doing? Maybe I'm starting to think of but we're still only halfway. Still got Scotland to go. I'm still
Okay.
nervous about Scotland. I've barely ridden there, and it's going to be hard. So I'm
Okay.
yeah.
And how much do you know about what's coming in the Bridleway Pennines?
Not much. I know Great Dun Fell, and I know a bit about the bog beyond it because I'd recce'd some of that. So I knew,
Okay.
and I've done a few other events up here, so I know the run into Halt Whistle.
Okay.
So probably Great Dun Fell all the way up to Kielder, I know reasonably well.
Okay.
But but between Manchester and yeah, and the Dales, I was winging it a bit. I hadn't really done my homework on it.
Okay.
Um,
And how did it end up comparing to expectations?
the day was really nice. I really enjoyed the day. And in fact, when I met Dan and got the news that I'd taken the lead, I'd been having a really nice day. I'd had to back off a bit because my ankles are sore, and
Okay.
it was like, okay, I'm just gonna ease off. But it was a really nice day. The sun was out, and it was the trails were mostly nice, and
Okay.
um, yeah,
Good. I mean, I think it comes through in that video interview where you're talking about the farmer that you met.
oh yeah. Yeah,
You just seem so delighted. Like,
yeah.
I've just had a lovely interaction with this guy, and isn't it great that he's into this kind of cycling?
Yeah.
And
And
uh,
people say it all the time. It's those interactions you get. And there's tiny, you're trying to minimize the time stopped, but in
right,
that time that you are stopped, you have these. Yeah, you meet people, and the interactions you have with people really make these events, what they are.
yeah,
Whether it's someone in a bar, or it's someone hiking, or it's another bikepacker coming the other way. And there were a few of those. It's lovely.
yeah, really some wonderful interactions there. It was fun watching you tell that story. I think even without speaking from an audience perspective, even if I hadn't known that you were about to get told you'd taken the lead, that was a lovely story. It was a great interview.
Yeah, nice.
um, so obviously you found out at that point that Henry had to pull out. And as you said, nobody wants their overtake to be in that manner.
Yeah.
How does the race change for you at that point?
Um, it's It's true. It was a big boost. So it was a big mood lift, and probably just spending 10, 15 minutes stationary chatting to Dan probably helped my legs recover a little bit. So I sort of went off in a sort of, yeah, it was
Yeah.
elevated. It felt really good. Um,
Good.
and And I could see it. I think at that point, oh no, because I was low battery. I was low
Oh
phone
yeah,
battery.
you'd said you hadn't looked at your phone.
Yeah, I was trying to. If I get to about 20% of my phone, it's like we're in emergency territory here, and I have to just not use it anymore. We're in really wild places. I'm not taking. I need
Yeah.
your phone as your escape route.
Yeah.
So, I think even then I wasn't really going to check it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, in fact, I went through this whole night without. It was an interesting night actually because I'd underestimated the Dales. I know the Dales are big and they're high in there, but heading up into, it's like I really didn't recce this properly, and I've got no idea what's coming up. You're just going up and up and up, and it's
Yeah.
um,
And it's
uh,
stop and open a gate, and then
yeah,
maybe you get rolling, and then stop and open a gate,
yeah.
and then rolling again,
But
and then
again,
stop again.
it is beautiful up there. It's high, and it was the stars are out, the moon is out. So Venus and Jupiter together followed me through the whole race in the
Oh,
night.
incredible.
They were very close, really, really bright.
Okay.
So that was nice
Is
nighttime companions.
astronomy a hobby?
No, not really. But
Okay.
well, yeah, I can point out some planets.
Enough that you knew what you were looking
Yeah,
at. I wouldn't have.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It was quite strange because they were so bright and so close together. So straight away, it's like, what are these two very bright? So I just have to check that out.
right.
Um,
So, pushed all the way through the night on this. Did you
so
sleep that night?
no, I did when I came down the other side and I got like the world's best bivvy spot. I found a church porch.
Oh,
And it's like,
perfect.
oh no, the door's shut. I'm not going to be. So I wandered around. I was going to camp against the wall. And it's like, just go try the door. And I tried the door, and there's a full porch with a closable door and two plug sockets. So I get a
Oh,
full recharge of all my gear, and I get to close the door and had a really good. This the best bivvy night. Yeah,
that's like
really good.
stumbling into the Hilton Hotel
It's
as
incredible.
bikepacking
Yeah,
goes.
it's never happened. Yeah, but it turns
Good.
out it does. Keep the faith. It does occasionally happen.
Yeah. Now, you've mentioned a couple of times knees and ankles. How's the body holding up at this point? Because we're at the halfway point of the race, roughly.
I think I've probably settled in by here. So sort of day 3, 4, you're kind of I've probably hit. I don't know. Thinking back to TCRs, like it's about the middle of the race. You're probably at your worst, and at that
Okay.
point, I feel like I'm almost adjusting into it. The body's kind of going, oh, okay, this is where we're in for the long haul now, and
Yeah.
and you can almost start improving. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think at this point it's like clearly okay. The bike setup's okay this time. My shoes are set up okay. I'm probably not going to get worse unless I push too hard or something. So, um,
Okay.
so I was feeling a
And
bit more
had
confident.
you had previous issues that escalated beyond that in other races?
The first All Points North I did, not All Points North, which I don't think is even on the list. It was the COVID year version.
Okay.
My Achilles got really painful, and only I think it was only probably the last 50 miles were a real struggle. And I think if that 50, if the event had been much longer, I'd probably had to pull out at that point. I could barely move it. So, um,
Okay.
and it's been back since, but it's never been as bad. And I think,
Okay.
um, yeah,
So some strategies this race to maybe keep that in check, I guess.
yeah, and I always try and if something starts getting bad, always try and do something about it, even if it's the same. If the bike's squeaky, stop and do something about it. You have to act on the things that
Yeah.
you're worried about. Otherwise, you just carry on worrying about them, even if they're not going to be disasters. So, something's painful, sort of, wiggle it around, get off the bike and stretch, back off the power a bit, stand up more, stand up less, whatever. You try and make an adjustment. Um,
Yeah. Fair
and then
enough.
at least you've done everything you can, and then you can put your mind at rest and then let it take care of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then it's then at least it's not causing you unnecessary grief.
yeah, I think.
Um, okay. So, oh, I think that must have been that bivy spot. I just saw you stop for a second as I
Yeah, that's
dragged the timeline there. So up the next morning, up Great Dunfell, down through the bog, which you said you'd reccied.
yeah. I've reckoned probably half of the other side of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what state was it in when you hit it during the race
it it
compared
it,
to what you knew about it?
it was fine. I was prepared. I was prepared for it to be tough. And when the preparation is amazing. If you prepare a section, you expect it to be hard, and it is hard. Mentally, it's
Right.
fine. You go, okay, well, I'm just this is okay. So, I'd met
Yeah.
that lovely dog at the bottom of the hill.
Oh, yes.
It was really cute. I had a little boost from that. It was
Yeah.
nice sunshine, and yeah, it was fine. I can see what would be horrible about doing it at night.
Yeah.
And if the weather was bad, it would be dreadful. But it was fine. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I was having had my only minor bike tech problems here. I was having some headset problems. I couldn't get the headset to tighten up and stay tightened up properly.
oh,
And
no.
I stopped at the end of this sector, whatever was the route split up into chunks, isn't it? So um
Okay. Yeah.
and I stopped.
And I would guess it splits at Garrigill because that's
That's it. Yeah.
formerly a checkpoint.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's split there. So I was like, this is probably about the sixth time a headset's come loose, and it's like I have to do everything I can about this myself now to know whether I need to
Okay.
go to a bike shop later. So I stopped at the post office there, got 2 ice creams, pit park bench on the village green, and sort of took it apart and solved the problem, luckily. But um,
Okay. And it was straightforward enough when you got into it?
yeah, it was like okay, the expanding bolt slipped slightly, so my
Ah, okay.
clamp's not clamped on the steerer tube properly, so I could just swap some spaces around, drop the stack a little bit, and it was fine.
Got it.
Um,
Uh,
but in
and
my
it
head,
sounds
it's like
from the way you described that like you've got a fair bit of understanding as a bike mechanic, right?
Uh, yeah, I can put a bike together. I'll still go before an event like this. I'll still get something serviced at one or other of my local shops.
Okay.
Wheel builds I'll stay well clear of, but um, yeah, I'm not mega confident, but I can
Okay.
sort of take it apart from. Because in my head, I was blowing this up. It's like, oh my god, I've damaged my frame, or my fork steer has just turned to mush or something, and I'm this is world ending kind of thing, and then
Yeah.
actually no, you've solved it. It's okay.
And I imagine uh, those kind of fears probably get amplified when you're in the lead in the race, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
suddenly if there's a catastrophic failure in some part that's going to pull you out of the race, it's a bigger fall
yeah,
than if you were sitting in third.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I mean, third, you're still losing a podium spot, which is big, but it's not quite the same as being queued up for your first win. And then,
Given, you know, I if I was sitting here talking to you about having come third in GBDURO, I would still be pretty made up by that. It's like um,
Yeah,
I was, I kind of wanted. I thought I'd do well, but not.
yeah.
Yeah, like I say, a win wasn't on the cards from the start. So
Well, yeah.
yeah,
I had you tipped as doing well, certainly, but I didn't know any of the leading racers well enough
yeah, yeah,
to know who was in the queue for a win. And obviously, I didn't know about your TCR results because, as we discussed yesterday, you've got two different dot watcher profiles.
yeah, yeah. Oops.
You're for those listening, Tom's TCR results are registered as Thomas, shows up as a different person. So when
Yeah,
I was doing my research for the race preview, I didn't know he'd ever done the TCR, much less finished in the top 30. So got the headset fixed. Now the border is on the horizon. You know Kielder fairly well.
yeah,
This is a
yeah.
change from up and down short sharp to sort of the beginnings of more sweeping terrain, really, from here to the end.
Yeah.
What's this next bit like?
This is so. This is the first section with a long resupply gap, isn't it? So halt whistle. It's
Oh
like
yeah, hot whistle almost a bigger, depending on.
yeah. Well, that was
There's maybe some exceptions if it's daytime,
yeah.
but
That was
certainly,
the gap for me. Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
so I'm a little nervous here. I haven't really done huge long resupply gaps much. Even on TCR, you don't usually get very long gaps.
Okay.
So I had a big stock up in Hot Whistle,
Yep.
and headed off. This is an interesting little low point. This is where the heat really did get me. I came out of Hot Whistle up the there's some couple of steep climbs to get out, and then up onto really exposed moorland on the lanes, and it was really hot. My Garmin showed 33 degrees in the sun at this point going up, and
Oh,
just as I got into the forest, I felt quite ill. It was kind of a combination of being really tired and really hot, and I stopped for an hour. I just put the bike down and got the bivy sack out and lay down underneath the conifers where it's really shady and cool, and just
oh
lay down
yeah,
for an hour, felt really bad.
yeah.
Just mixture of heat and tiredness.
Okay.
And it's like, you absolutely need to listen to that. That's
Had you done that kind of siesta strategy in hotter races, TCR or whatever?
you, the first TCR. There was a section in Greece where I had a similar sort of, oh God, I'm too hot now. I think I'd made the mistake of having an iced coffee at the bottom of a climb, and it doesn't have the cooling effect that you think it might because the caffeine kicks you. So
Yeah, it's
I just
refreshing at first, and
yeah,
then
and
as
then
you heat back up,
yeah, and I did the same. I just lay down in the shade for a bit, and I think it was hotter there in Greece but
I
I
would
don't know. It feels
imagine
like
so.
33 degrees in the borders feels like 40 degrees in the Balkans. I think there's something.
Yeah.
And I was prepared. I was prepared for the heat more during TCR. The second TCR, I had actually done a little bit of heat prep, which really
Okay.
helped, and I was expecting it.
Okay.
Whereas,
Got it.
oh
Yeah, this is a bit of drawing on that experience, but without having planned to do so.
yeah, pretty much. But
Yeah.
then was okay. You sort of twiddle along through the forest.
Was that the first real low point?
Um, Probably, yeah. First physical, yeah, probably,
Okay.
yeah.
You say first physical. Were there mental low points that?
Um, they kind of coincide, don't they?
Yeah.
um, I'd say the sort of path of infinite puddles up was probably the sort of just probably the worst bit for me
Okay.
later on, but that was um
Yeah.
this was kind of okay. I was toying with stopping. There's like a cafe restaurant thing at Kielder, and it's like you don't need to
Yeah.
stop here. You don't need to. Just keep going. Keep going.
Well, it's also I went there for a repair. It's 3 miles of tarmac off the
No,
course,
yeah,
and then you got the 3 miles back.
yeah,
So that's the best part of an hour pedaling, plus the
yeah,
time you spend there,
yeah.
which is yeah. If you don't need it, don't do it.
And some of it was a little bit of a confidence thing. It's like you really are going out into the wild now. You've got food, you've got water. Trust yourself. Trust it. You're going to be okay. Go.
Yeah.
Um, and
And where are we in the day at this point? Is this coming into afternoon, evening?
yes, so I did sleep out, but I'm going to struggle to point out exactly where.
that's fine.
I could just,
Uh,
yeah, but
Somewhere before you got to bigger.
I crossed the border in the light. It was definitely light
Okay.
because I got some photos there. I think it was a bit of
Yeah.
way further on. There's a section you might remember. There's like where you're going along Fire Road and your Garmin beeps at you because you're suddenly wrong and you need to climb up a bank.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
You've
just
got to
after that.
just turn and go straight into the forestry.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
Except now it's
It's,
Clearfeld and there's no evidence of path and it's just this brush and tree stumps
oh,
and
is it?
you can't see the path at all. It's horrible. And you're like
Oh, no.
carrying your bike through this. The only way you know you're on a path is because your Garmin tells you you're on the path.
I mean, there wasn't much of a path when I did it a few
Right.
years ago. So, you know, you could kind of tell that other people had been there before, but absolutely nothing had ever been maintained in any semblance of an intentional path,
Yeah.
was my take on it. And then
Yeah.
you sort of do roll out of it towards the end into some more forestry track.
Yeah. And it was just after that, there was like a clearing and it's like, no, it's not time to stop. And it was bivvied out under the stars and that was nice.
Yeah, okay. I think probably what I would describe as the biggest challenge here is it this hill? Dunrig. There's like comms, mobile towers, radar station up the top of a big climb, and it's really chunky on the way down, chunky and loose, pretty steep.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah. Followed by another little gravel track, and then you're into the lanes into Lanarkshire, Broughton Bigger, and heading into the Central Belt, which I'm guessing at this point is the next morning for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Bigger was I had a good stop there, stop at the sandwich shop, and then at this point, you know, okay, I don't need a big restock here. I'm just gonna eat and then graze my way into Stirling, and I can.
Yeah. Okay. So a fairly smooth day there. I'm guessing taking that as a little bit of a respite before the next.
Yeah, had a big restock.
The next big push.
Big restock in Stirling.
Okay.
And then at the point of Stirling, my notes were like, oh, there's a hotel which is reasonably affordable in Killeen. So in Stirling, it's like at that point, it's like, oh, it's still bookable. So I booked it. Taking a gamble. So I didn't really know what the path was like because you can see it's off road there for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's like if that's rough and difficult, I'm not going to make the check-in time. But if it's okay, I'll be fine. And luckily, it's this nice cycle path and it's pretty easy going.
Yeah, this is basically all hybrid bike, canal path, Sunday cruiser kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You could go all the way to Killeen.
Yeah, absolutely perfect for someone who's in a rush for a hotel.
Yeah. Well, good. And Killeen's a great stop because it's just before things really start to kick off on we're looking at I don't think it's clearly defined. Just here is the Highland boundary fault. So you've only just crossed into the Highlands proper at that point.
Yeah.
And that is where the terrain is going to start to change.
Yeah. I kind of promised was that I had a really good sleep. I think I stopped for 5 hours there. Had a really good sleep in inverted commas, but and it's like if I'm well rested before I go into this difficult stuff, then I'm going to enjoy it more. And this is the stuff I want to enjoy all of it.
Yeah.
But this is the stuff I want to enjoy.
And what was that day of riding like? Got up fresh as ultras go, and had this push through the Highlands.
It was really good. Yeah, that was my. It was one of the highlight phases, I guess, that day. I can't remember. Is that the day we finished? Did I get all the way to Fort Augustus that day? Was that?
You would have, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's
and then beyond. Yeah,
it's only maybe 150. That's 1450 on the route, and then Fort Augustus is just after 1600, so it's 150k.
Yeah. So it was, definitely, because it was still light. Because I met Chris at the top of the Corriaric. And then he was going to be a fixture then for the rest of the race. He'd pop up in random places and he'd have a chat and get some photos again. And it was that was nice.
Seemed probably fun to keep seeing a familiar face from that point.
Yeah. It is. There's that sort of funny balance between sort of is this support, is this not? But it's he'd follow me around the shop in Fort Augustus and So
Yeah.
time I've never felt like such an incompetent ultra cyclist, sort of faffing my way around the shop. You're meant to be in the lead.
Oh yeah.
You
Here
fast
it's being
over.
documented, every false decision I make, every time I put something back on the shelf, or
He even said later on, I met him, that he's like, I thought you packed a bit light though. And it's like, Jesus.
uh-oh.
I was
Oh
fine.
no.
Okay, but
Yeah, there was a report the other day, I think Roop at Content stores, Chris caught him going in, doing his shop. He ate something, then went back in, did another shop. Then there were some local school kids doing a fundraiser bake sale, and he raided their table. So
awesome.
it was a triple stop for him.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anything else standing out? I'm loath to take you through every detail of every step of the way. What's the next point that stands out to you in terms of your journey?
I didn't enjoy after Fort Augustus. It went downhill a little bit for me. I didn't. There's two huge climbs out of there. The
up and over
the
into
second
Glenmoriston, and then up and over to Tomich.
Yeah, I was really cold at the end of the second descent, so I had to try to get loads more clothes on, and then and then my full figured gloves just couldn't get them on properly. I didn't enjoy that much. And then and then there was the was the path of 1,000 puddles.
This is the puddles, yeah, so from Stree as you go up.
Yeah, I hated this section because it was at this point it's dark. I can't tell if I can ride through this puddle or not because it could have rocks in it and stuff. So I'm stopping, starting, pushing, and it's just no fun at all.
Well, if it's any consolation, you can't really tell during the daytime either.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that, and you don't get the views because I was doing that at the night. It was.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I guess that got you to Contin for the start of the following day.
No, well, I went through Contin. I camped just after Contin, so I didn't use the Contin resupply.
So Fort Augustus was the last stock up.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think Contin was, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning or something, and then I camped just afterwards, just at the start of that off-road section, for a pretty cold, miserable couple of hours. It wasn't a great stop.
Yeah, I think Rob stayed there 2 nights ago.
Yeah, it was. But then there was a really nice section after that. This was lovely.
This is all coming into the Allerdale estate and all of that.
Yeah.
And probably some of the best bits of.
Yeah, this was
here.
really nice. Yeah, enjoyed a lot of this.
Yeah. Rose Hall sort of marks the last.
Stopped in the cafe in Rose Hall for a bit. Chat to Chris again here.
Yeah. And what did you know about what was coming up?
Well, I bumped into Christine in near the youth hostel, and she'd sort of reiterated that the section is, it's a sting in the tail. We really suggest you do it in the light. And she was careful to say, I'm not saying don't do it in the dark, but you might not want to do it in the dark.
Right.
So it's like,
and I think probably also some apprehension from a race organizer having put this in the route for the first time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And not wanting to send people into it and have it turn into an absolute disaster, right?
Yeah, completely.
It's supposed to be a challenge, not a disaster. Yeah. So what was it like?
Well, my imagination ran wild. It's like, what's going to happen here? And I stopped at Krask, the pub, and had a little bit to eat and a funny chat there. And I just sort of set off into it. And then it's like, okay, well, it's a bog. It's like a marsh all the way up. With some hiking in there, and you don't even try and keep your feet dry. And then the sun kind of set at the top, so I just about got the view down to the lock. By the time I sort of walked most of the way down to the lock, it was then dark. And there were some really tough bits. You're scrambling through some pretty sort of washed out, rocky stream beds, and it was. And it was
a challenge, but
it was it was,
but kept you moving.
And it was hard to make progress. Even going along the lake, it was a very rutted track, and I'm sure in the day I could have ridden it pretty comfortably, but at night, and I was pretty tired by then. I'd had a really short sleep the night before, and this is now getting on into night again. That, this was a sort of probably a tiredness low point. And if I was on tarmac or there was cars around here, I'd have stopped. I was in a sort of not safe to to share the road with other road users staked here, but I was still making progress slowly. But
yeah, I think I know that feeling.
Yeah. And right at the end again, Chris came out of the dark in the end, and he had that drone shot he posted with the
oh yeah,
which was that was a really cool shot. I mean, he'd been expecting me through the hours before. I was so slow.
Yeah, I think nobody knew what kind of pace to expect there.
Yeah.
So
very, very slow. So,
good.
and then I did my last camp out. I got to the point where my mind wouldn't let me proceed anymore, and I just stopped on the end when the gravel track got good. I just stopped on the edge of the road and slept for an hour.
Somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowing I wasn't going to reach the end without at least a nap.
Okay. Fair enough. So
and the rest.
Not fresh, but revived a bit when you start that final leg.
Yeah. That's it. Just need to get my head to cooperate again. Go forwards.
And from there, how confident are you that everything in front of you is manageable?
I mean, barring that last off-road section, which I didn't know until I got to it, it's like, oh, okay, this is this kind of gravel. We're okay.
Okay.
And it's not. And knowing that, I think if it had been bad, I'd have known it was going to be bad because you
would have heard about it.
Yeah, we'd heard about it. Yeah. And it was
okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, then we're okay.
So now we're coming back to what you first mentioned about it, is kind of knowing as you get to the tail end of that with Sunrise that this is it. You got it in the bag. Yeah. You say could almost have walked, because it is just about that kind of thing at that point. You took the time to really drink it all in, take the advice from other ultra racers you'd heard in the past and make sure you enjoy it rather than rushing to the finish. You're getting there. What's it like rolling in?
Oh, it's amazing. It's like, yeah. I mean, I had my Lindsay, my wife, and two of my kids were there at the end, and the dogs, and it was just them, which was really lovely. You can have Chris is taking pictures in the background, but it was a really, really good end. Yeah,
that sounds absolutely wonderful.
The best ultra end I've had, even finishing a TCR when you've got a bunch. It's just having familiar faces and a hug. It was really good.
So familiar faces, the bike works, the body works.
Yeah.
The weather's decent. It's just coming up for 10 in the morning, which means you've kind of got the whole day to lounge about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah, and it was great. They've already got a tent set up, so I didn't use it. We were camping and just had a really nice slow day until Reese came in.
So off for a nap straight away?
I did, I had an afternoon nap. Yeah.
Excellent. And because I haven't heard from Reese, what can you tell us about Reese's finish?
Oh, it's a very tired conversation we both had. He'd had a lot more mechanical trouble from brakes and so on. I mean, poor guy. He does some resilience. And he'd been to a few shops, and it was kind of a worst case, difficult, not really possible to repair it on the fly kind of problem. But I think he just about had some braking power on his. Because I think he'd been riding. I think he's a stronger rider. He passed me back in Cornwall.
Okay.
Cornwall or Devon, crossing Exmoor. Which one's the Cornwall or Devon? He'd passed me during the night at one point, and then we chatted at a pub.
Okay.
And it was because I kind of forgotten that. Oh yeah, that was then. I guess he passed me. I think he'd slept that first night, and then I'd gone on because I knew I wasn't going to. So that was sort of that. Yeah, okay. I think if he'd not had his mechanical problems, it would have been a much, much, much closer run thing. He spent hours on sort of off course or trying to sort that out, and the mental issues.
Sounds like it must have been frustrating for him.
Yeah, very much. But I mean, he came in good spirits. It was fun. It was kind of must have been quite straight.
Still got a second place finish out of it.
Yeah. And just getting sort of greeted at the end by me, who was only just coherent because I was so tired, and two of my kids who were like, "Wow, this is like quite this is it's a funny situation. It's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I suddenly found myself in the commentary censoring some of the information about his breaks just in case people watching were worried about him. It sounded like he finished most of the race with one break.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's frightening to me.
Yeah. It's not the sort of thing you want to tell your mum about.
Yeah, exactly. I thought maybe I shouldn't just share word for word what he said in that group message there.
But no, he made it. Yeah, he made it. It was a strong finish, and yeah, it's good.
Good. So, what are you seeing? Have you got any insights about what everybody else has got left? We kind of already talked about the course. I'm guessing at this point you didn't get to know any of these riders very well that
No,
are still out there.
it's only from what I remember from Ross's on the first night, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, you know, on one hand, these guys have been out on the road for several more days. You know, that's still really, really difficult. You know, maybe I slept less, maybe I rode faster, but you know, this is
Yeah.
3 days more on the trails. It's hard, and
Which is 3 days more of bad or
yeah,
no sleep,
yeah,
which
or
is,
rattling,
yeah, all of that.
hammering your body and hammering your bike. So, yeah, huge
Yeah.
hats off to everybody carrying. You know, everybody's still out there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you've done a good job of wishing them all well as the remaining riders have started to come in. It's been really lovely to see that in the WhatsApp group.
yeah.
I'm conscious of your time, want to make sure I don't take too much of it because I know you're still recovering. What else do you want to talk about, if anything?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've got to check out the thanks to the organisers. Everybody's put it together, and the photographers, and Chris in particular, because I saw a lot of Chris.
Yeah.
And for your commentary, it really brings the race to life. So, like, thanks for
Oh,
all your time too.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
And, well, and thank you for being willing to come and do this even before you'd fully recovered. I realize at this point Tom's had a couple of nights, but we did attempt to do this yesterday, at which point you'd had, what, two nights, the first of which was camping, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I can't imagine that was a fresh and comfortable
No,
start to the day.
no, it wasn't. It takes a while to get your sleep pattern back to normal. Your metabolism's all over the place because you've been eating constantly through the night, and your body's just on fire and it's ready to go. But yeah, it takes a while. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again. Thank you so much for taking the time. What's next for you? Is it too soon to think about that, or do you know
I've signed
what
up
the next challenge is?
Yeah, I've signed up for Trans-Pyrenees this year, so that's coming up in October. And
Trans-Pyrenees this year. Okay.
yeah.
So you've got just enough time to recover and then go do it again.
Yep. And I signed up. The town I'm in, Froome, has an occasional. It's been 10 years since it's run a cobbled street hill climb race, which is really fun.
Okay.
Like, people come out in fancy dress, and some people take it really fast. Called
fun.
Froome Cobble Wobble. So I signed up for that yesterday.
And which one will you be doing? Fancy dress or going for a win?
No, I'm going for as hard as I can.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. It's a 30
and when is that?
When is it?
How long have you got to recover?
It's mid-September, I think, something like 14th.
So you've got enough time.
Yeah.
It's only certainly enough time to get back to the point that you can do 1 10-minute effort.
Well, 30-second effort.
It's 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's really short. Yeah.
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 Well, so Tom's done his endurance training. Now he's doing sprint training till the middle of September, at which point we'll see how he does in the cobble wobble in Froome. And then we'll be watching his dot for Trans-Pyrenees. I'm going to have a quick glance. I'm not going to do a full weather look today, just because I know we're taking Tom's time and we're kind of coming very much into the end of the race. Looks like it is headwindy but calm all the way into tonight, maybe even turning into a crosswind. And the big one I really want to look at is rain and thunder. You can see out here in the sea, there's kind of tiny little bits of blue showing up. Where are we? And when I looked back on the Met Office rainfall map, the observations over the last 24 hours, I did see a couple of little patches in and around Rose Hall, but again, I think like Tom and I were saying at the beginning of this conversation, we're talking misty Scottish weather, not significant rain. I just switched to wind. I wanted to switch to temperature, and it is cool today. That's forecast for 9 o'clock. Looking at highs mid-afternoon, 13, 15. So should be a pleasant day for riding. We are watching with interest to see our next two come in today during the day. Joe perhaps tonight, and I'm guessing Roman is going to be sometime either very small hours in the morning or more likely tomorrow. So I'll be keeping us up to date on all of that. Thanks so much, everyone who's watching, for tuning in. Hope you found this interesting and useful. And thank you again, Tom, and congratulations. Enjoy your rest.
Cheers, Alex. Thank you.